So, does anybody else think they should just be honest with Anakin about all this stuff? And actually just talk about it and deal with it properly? I mean, does anybody else get that impression? Yoda even flat out says, and I wrote it down here, overdue the truth is. It's like, yeah. Obviously, they don't contact him with their instantaneous intergalactic communication before he, deals with the whole situation. But whatever. I'm just gonna not even talk about that. It's cool. It's cool. Why is Bane always such a dick to everyone? You ever notice that? He is such a dick to everyone. This is true previously as well as now. And it always backfires on him. I get that that's kind of his flaw, because otherwise he'd just be a really good professional bounty hunter. But seriously, it's a little bit silly. How many of you guys have played some variant on Dungeons & Dragons? I have, obviously. You know what this episode really felt like to me? It felt like I was the GM, or someone was the GM, and Obi-Wan was the player, and things just kept going wrong. And he's just like, alright, and the GM's like trying to throw him a bone, like, alright, so you can contact them and get these credits. No, okay. You can get the bounty removed. Okay, no, that's not gonna work. Okay, you're in, but now he hates you, and now he's trying to kill you. It's just, stuff just keeps going wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong. This whole thing does feel like a mission, though. It is also funny to me how easy it was for them to convince Palpatine to remove the bounty. It actually makes sense, too. That's the weird part. We remove the bounty, we make them more free to move, which means we're cool. Of course, obviously that would make them very suspicious, but again, this is part of the plan, so whatever. I do find it amusing, how they basically refuse to let Palpatine in on their plan. I wouldn't be surprised if he knew anyways. Palpatine's spy network is pretty good. But, whatever. Finally, for what is basically the first time in the Clone Wars, we finally get a scene between Anakin and Palpatine. Something I've been wanting for this whole time. A lot of my favorite scenes in Episode 3 are the ones with Anakin and Palpatine. The dynamic between the two, the character interaction between the two. The idea that Palpatine has been cultivating a legitimate trust and friendship with this person for years in order to play off in this long game kind of a thing. We needed to see more of that, and this is the first time we finally see that. And it works very well, in my opinion. Even though it's Season 4, Episode 16 of this freaking show. Anakin's like, no, they took out my master, and then he almost corrects himself. My best friend. And then Palpatine's like, clearly, the Jedi don't trust you to keep your emotions in check. And he says it in kind of a kind way, like, the way you would say something unpleasant about someone, but it's okay because I understand, because, it's okay. We all have flaws. But then Palpatine kind of comes in for the killing blow. I gotta be honest, Anakin. I trust you. If you think you can deal with this plot to me, I have faith in you. And that's a nice little 1-2 punch. It's not actually that subtle. It's not at the usual Palpatine level of subtlety. It is, in fact, very overt. But I think that's part of why it works here, because Anakin isn't really thinking that straight, and Palpatine basically flat out says to his face, the Jedi don't trust you, but I do. Here's some information on where they are. Do what you gotta do. I like that. So then Anakin's interrogation of the bar is great. He walks in, plays around with the Force a bit just to make a big show, and then he says, alright, I need to know such and such. The guy's like, okay, I'll talk, but you have to pay me. Okay, Force choke. Has anyone else noticed that Anakin's doing a lot more Force choking as of late, by the way? I know that it's debatable whether Force choking is inherently a dark side power or not, but what is not debatable is basically every time Anakin has done the Force choke, it's been out of anger. Anywho, so then Palpatine, of course, confronts Windu with the truth. This is a classic Palpatine move, lying to someone by telling them the truth. Oh, I sent Anakin. I believe that this plot against me is not going well, and I think that your defensive preparations aren't just working right enough. We need to go and stop the plot at its source. So I trusted Anakin with this information. Any problems with that, Jedi? And the best part is the Jedi are lying, just through classic lying, And it's funny, this whole arc is basically the deception arc. It's one of the reasons that I really disagree with the whole Obi-Wan Anakin thing, which, speaking of which, so, first of all, really quick aside, I love the money-making scheme they have with the Bith. That was just a nice little touch. So, Cad Bane goes out, I'm gonna kill a Jedi. Yeah, you're fighting an enraged Anakin, dude. You are lucky you survived that. And then Anakin goes after Obi-Wan. Now, this is interesting in its own right because this would have been the perfect time for Obi-Wan to break character, at least quietly. Just say something, anything. This is going to sound strange, but several of my very close friends and family members have little code words, just in case something happens. This is not a joke. But if in the incredibly unlikely circumstance, we have actually already talked about, just to make sure it's me, like in a text message is a great example, in a real life scenario. Obviously, shapeshifters and mind control doesn't exist in real life, but someone texting pretending to be me, that's a thing. And we have little innocuous phrases we can say to verify that it's us, or to otherwise clarify. Why doesn't Anakin and Obi-Wan, who live in a setting which does have mind control and impersonating and all that, and metamorphs and changelings, why don't they have something like this? Just have him, and just, I don't know, Senator Padme is safe, something like that, anything, just come on. Annie, it's okay, Annie, Jar Jar says hello, something! Just as a really quick, it's me. Just as a super quick. Instead, he just goes ahead and fights him full-faced and then says, "Don't follow me, Anakin." And all Anakin senses is that Obi-Wan's alive, and that's it. Which just makes him even more suspicious and makes things get even worse. Oh, by the way, you know how you can tell Anakin's really pissed off? He groin shots Obi-Wan. Yeah. Full force, too. Anyways, we'll see how this Three's Company story goes in the next episode.